Welcome, I'm Dr. James Patterson, Professor of English, and this is Academic Writing 2, Part 2, on getting started on writing your research papers. Now, for college students, during your freshman and sophomore years, you'll be asked to take English composition classes that help teach you the process of writing at an academic level. These are important classes, but the focus is on the writing, not so much on the topic. This video series is also designed to help you prepare, though, for the courses you'll be taking in your junior and senior year within your field of study. And the topics are much more focused and oftentimes assigned by the instructor. So in the discipline classes that you'll be taking, the professors will vary quite a bit on what type of topics they will assign you to write upon. Some professors will give you 3 or 4 topics and allow you to pick one of the 3 or 4. Others will give you a very specific topic, and that's what you need to write on. But typically there is some leeway in how you approach the topic, and for this video series I want to talk today about what things to consider at the very beginning once you receive the research paper assignment from your professor. The first thing I want you to sit down and consider is the amount of time available to you for developing and preparing the research paper. If the professor gives you 1 week to put together the research paper, you're going to be busy, but understand that the professor is expecting you to use all 7 days in that week to work on the research paper. If a professor gives you a full month to work on a research paper, do not wait until the last minute to put the paper together. The professor is giving you a month because the professor is expecting you to take a full month to research, draft, revise, and polish your research paper. Also, you want to consider the length of the paper that's being assigned to you. Is the professor assigning you a short 3 to 5 page paper, or is this a larger work, sometimes 10, 12, 15, even 20 pages in length? The length of the paper will give you an idea of how focused you're going to have to be. I remember when I started work on my master's degree at Arizona State University, I took a class my very first semester, and the professor informed us, the students, that we were going to write for a final paper a 30-page paper. After we had all fainted and revived, he told us, do not worry about the 30-page length. If you do all the things that I expect you to do in the paper will result in 30 pages. So understand that if your professor is giving you a lengthy page count or a large word count for your research paper, there is an expectation of what that material will contain. So consider the amount of time that you have for the paper, consider the length of the assigned paper. I also want you to take a quick look to see and consider the amount of available research and source materials that are available to you. You need to get to your library, you need to get to your online sources, and quickly find out if you have enough adequate sources, enough credible sources to put together the paper for you. The fourth thing I want you to consider at the very beginning of the research paper process is to consider your audience. Many students come out of the secondary high schools in the U.S. with a sense of writing for a general audience. Oftentimes their English teachers in high school told them to write for their fellow students. That develops a very general, vague, plural audience. When you're writing for your research papers for your university professors, the junior and senior year of your university work, you are writing for a single reader. You're writing for a single professor, and the writing style, the writing tone that you take in that paper must address that single perspective. So we want to get rid of the word you in English because it's the ustedes, the plural form of you, and it's not appropriate for a single professor, one. So bear in mind. Also, get to know your professors as quickly as possible. Ask other students who have taken the professor before. Find out what type of expectations the professor likes. Particularly early in the semester, does the professor have a sense of humor? Is the professor very heavily into research and documentation? Or is the professor more interested in your own ideas with some research put in? Investigate your audience so that you can write to your audience. And then lastly, but not least important, is consider your own interests. If the professor has given you a large range of topics to choose from, or if the professor has been very limited in what you can write upon, still go out, get some initial research done, investigate your topic, find something in that topic that interests you. If you are bored, if you are discouraged, if you are frustrated, if you are not interested in the topic of your paper, it will affect the entire process, it will affect the outcome, the paper that you submit, and it will affect your grade. So find some way that it piques your interest as you move into the research paper. And then I have the Markman Waddell. And finally, I have the research paper, 10 Steps to Writing a Research Paper by Markman, and Waddell. In their book, they say, quote, "Some subjects have never been suitable for research." Never suitable for research. A biography summarized from secondary sources, never suitable for research. The entire history of anything, and not suitable for research, any subject that you will investigate with a closed mind. The research studies have been fairly consistent and clear in the last few years. If you have a bias in mind when you start to do your research, that bias will consciously or unconsciously filter some of the research materials you consider and will bias the research that you conduct. So, if you have a strong feeling on your topic, find some way to turn it into a neutral topic so that you can complete and conduct good, credible research.